empty cup. Just crack a smile and fill it up. Fill it up.
Welcome to After the Final Pour, brought to you by the Malting Hour. I am one of the hosts, Tony Golick, joined always with
Brandon Winninger.
leans into the mic, and we have a couple of special guests. We got our guy,
Clark Fettridge.
9 Foot Clark, and
Pat McHugh.
and
Hiphops.
Word. I don't know when this episode comes out, but we were all on a Christmas episode, so here we are. Dan, you brought some beer. What the hell are we drinking?
So this is something I've had since 2013. It's the Bruery's Geese-A-Laying. And they were doing a beer for each of the 12 days of Christmas. This one being a Belgian-style dark ale with Cape gooseberries. Clark, take it away.
Oh boy, you caught me off guard here. It is
Caught him snoozing.
It's the 6th verse of their 12 Beers of Christmas.
What are the first 5, Clark?
Oh boy, man, that is just way too much info on my mobile device.
It
5.
goes with the song.
5 rings.
5 golden rings,
5 golden rings.
4 calling birds, 3 French hens, 2 turtle doves,
And
and
a
a
partridge
and a pear tree.
Perhaps we should ask your neighbor Jeff for his version of the song, if you recall.
Absolutely not.
There's a dirty version.
Harkens back to the first Christmas episode.
Absolutely. Was that on the actual episode? Or
It was.
it?
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah,
He
sure.
got through all sorts of good
Oh
stuff.
shit! Yeah, he did get through a full 12 days of Christmas. Oh man, good times. Good times.
Who doesn't like a tangy Cape gooseberry, though? Am I right?
I've never had a gooseberry before. Clark, can you elaborate?
Gooseberries are some berries that...
This is embarrassing.
I'm definitely getting berries.
Yeah, I'm definitely getting some type of berry. Maybe berry
A little,
white.
little oxidized.
You gotta shake it off.
I feel like you guys have talked about Belgian candy sugar before or something. Is that what I'm tasting here? There's a lot of sugar in here.
I would agree.
It's sweet, caramelly. If you guys do give it a little swirl, it does kind of shake off that oxidation. I feel like.
Swirl.
Take a big like with beers like this, you gotta take a big shitty sip.
Oh, God.
And then give it a swirl, kind of open it up a little bit, and it kind of loses a bit of that oxidation, at least for me.
But a gooseberry is something. Pardon me. Is much like a grape, a species of ribes, if you will. They were once illegal because they contributed to a tree disease. Ooh. So, thanks for bringing that into Brandon's house, Daniel.
I do get grape on it, actually, now that you say that. And that might be power of suggestion, but I get grape for sure.
Yeah, totally getting that tree disease out of this one.
Brandon, what's your favorite tree disease beer that you've had so far?
This one,
This
tastes
might
the
be
best.
okay.
Yeah,
good.
the 6 Geese-A-Laying. For it being a total of, 8 years old now at this point?
Yes, that's correct math,
Yes.
Tony.
Well, that's what I was going for, and yet the room was silent, so I didn't feel so bad that you're all morons. This beer, I think, is held up pretty nicely. We've had some 3-year-old beers that had sucked ass, although we have had some 11-year-old beers or 10-year-old beers that were fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
But for 8 years old, that sounds weird. For 8 years old, this 8-year-old beer, this is really, really good.
Yeah.
What's still what you can still taste from it,
Yeah, it's oxidized, but not like...
to the point where you can't drink.
Yeah, adversely so. You're not gonna not want to drink it, but it's interesting. I definitely get the dark fruits or grape characteristic on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Pat, what do you think?
I like the taste. Is the oxidizing like what I'm smelling something weird, right? But it tastes great.
Yeah, so here's my thing is as it was poured, I feel like the scent of the oxidation kind of waned off.
Yeah.
And you don't get it. It's not as prominent. So you're probably getting more of the actual beer. Because I am. I don't taste oxidation. Oxidation.
I like that it's an after the final pour and you're trying to say oxidation.
Yeah. I don't get the oxidation in the scent. I get a rich caramel and...
I'm peeing in a cup.
I don't know, like
That dark Belgian sugar, like you were talking about.
yeah, like the sugar is coming through.
There is a fruitiness to it. Grape, almost apple, but not like in an off flavor, off scent.
A little bit of cherry for me too. Mm-hmm. Which are not illegal.
Good call. Like a mixed berry, like cherry or grape. It's actually quite nice.
I was pleasantly
interesting.
surprised with
Yeah.
Now that we're drinking this, I feel like we should just insert it back into the Christmas episode because it's 6 Geese-A-Laying and we're morons.
Yeah, and I know. So they did. Every one of their beers had something to do with the name. So I know, like 8 Maids of Milking was a milk stout, and so on.
I went to dinner at Publican many years ago, and we did the chef's menu. Publican being like, full of farm to table.
Ballin'.
We had our gifts from Publican, and one of the brewery, 12 Days of Christmas beers was available, and it was vintage at that time. Ooh, Clark's replacement Aggie has entered the conversation.
good
was
luck.
it? Oh, what's up, Shatsy?
I'm back.
Anyways,
So
I
they
remember
actually
getting it. I
made-
don't
they-
remember what it was. It
They
was very
made
good.
all 12?
Yeah.
Vintages?
And they actually started remaking.
Did they?
them. In 2020, they re-released the 6 Geese-A-Laying. I saw.
It would
when
be
I was-
nice for them to go back and, they could get away with almost like an advent calendar. That's a lot of beer to brew, but like an advent calendar worth of revisiting all the days of Christmas.
Yeah, they did a
totally.
barrel-aged version of this too.
Yeah, they did a barrel-aged version of all of
That's
the 12
great
days.
information, Dan. Thank you
Which
for telling us
Brandon
that.
had
I'm
in
glad
2015.
Dan said that and nobody else.
And they did say, I remember reading that they that all of the beers, even the first one they released, was supposed to still be good after they released the final 12th one. And I was gonna look. So a partridge and a pear tree.
Did they have pear in it? If
I
they did, it'd be a piece of
am
shit.
trying to look
They didn't
that
do it.
up.
Fuck the brewery.
I'm not gonna
You
put-
really missed.
Belgian quad.
Yeah, I'm not gonna put.
What would Lords of Leaping taste like?
Ball sweat. Probably ball sweat.
Nuts good.
Nut skin. Oh, this show just goes blue every time. Dan was being serious, looking stuff up, and I just went with
10 Lords of Leaping
There we go. Thank you.
was. I'm trying to find the original one here. I apologize. All right, so in 2017, 10 Lords of Leaping. Wassail? Oh, wassail was like a spiced
Wassel.
wassail.
Wassailing.
Wassailing we go.
The 10th verse, Saga Goes Leaps Abound, is a dark imperial wit ale featuring 10 different spices, coriander, orange peel. So they just made a spiced beer with 10 different ones for the 10 Lords of Leaping. Sort of a cop-out.
Sorry, I'm petting your cat. That sounds pretty good, but that's not what we're drinking. I know how we got on that. I would say overall, man, this is it's held up very well, and man, you saved that for a very long time, and you opened it up with us.
Yeah.
Thank you.
What a waste. JK. Yeah, no, this is awesome. I would love if the brewery revisited this idea of doing the 12 Days of Christmas because it's such a fun idea. And I know that if I had a brewery, well, shit, I'd find a way to do something like this as well.
Yes.
Clark, any final thoughts on this beer?
No final thoughts.
Dan, any final thoughts on this beer?
It reminds me of like grape juice and Belgian beer.
Pat, thanks, Dan. Pat, any final thoughts on this beer?
I would get it again. It doesn't taste Christmassy, but it's got a good title to, drink around Christmas. And
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Good flavor. Brandon, any thoughts on this beer?
Just tasted it again, and I'm kind of in the camp of Dan. Like, it's like grape juice and like other flavors. Yeah.
Right on. Yeah, I think you guys are right. There's like this berry flavor. I think you guys are like the gooseberry kind of comes in,
Yep.
and it being a dark ale, Belgian, like those types of beers, I do get those. Someone taking a whiz? What's that noise? It's Clark whizzing. I do. I'm not editing that out either. It's it's a very good beer. I like it a lot, and I do hope that the brewery decides to maybe revisit the 12 Days of Christmas. Hiphops, Pat, Appreciate you guys joining us for this After the Final Pour. Clark, always a pleasure, never a chore.
Privilege.
Brandon, love you, man.
Love you too.
I can't wait to do one more.
This has been The Malting Hour. Be sure to follow us on all social media by searching The Malting Hour and at themaltinghour.com. You can also follow us on social media platforms individually. Brandon can be found on Instagram as BMDub81, on Twitter, BDub81, on Untapped, BDub Drinks Beer. Tony can be found on Instagram and Untapped under Asa Phelps Chicago. On Twitter, The Asa Phelps Chicago. Clark can be found as Clarkowski on all three. Be sure to subscribe, like, and rate the show on your preferred podcast listening platform. Until next time, cheers from all of us at The Malting Hour.